It's still Spy, and I'm back with the second half of the recap for Power. Now, I would like to point out that last week the big discussion was my accent because I'm Canadian, and this week I may sound a bit strange, well, stranger than normal, because I actually have a cold. That's how dedicated a recapper I am. I have a head cold, and I'm still delivering you this audio recap. The police department they should have been investigating was Kalina, a small town near LA, which would have been nice because then I could have avoided having to ever know that Ivy Kirk existed in the fictional Numbers world. But Ivy's all smug that it wasn't an LAPD officer, and she said all along that it wasn't an LAPD officer, and she's all blah, and it's like, shut the fuck up, woman. For heaven's sakes, you never suggested it was from another department, so quit retconning your own opinions, please. She's even pissed when Dawn does not want her help with the Kalina PD. And she justifies her usefulness by saying that she grew up in a small town PD. And really? She's the worst type of idiot because she's so dumb, but yet she's so confident that she's right. Urgh. Charlie arrives with a new clue that both of the victims contracted a drug-resistant form of gonorrhea, and through invading more privacy, they figure they can make a sexual network, which Charlie compares to Facebook, and find more victims who all suffer from that particular strain of gonorrhea, thus leading back to the Kalina PD. Colby's in Kalina, meeting the same resistance from the chief there that Ivy Kirk gave him. Megan, on the other hand, is finding out that, according to the Rape Crisis Center, this has been going on for over a year and the Kalina PD's been completely ignoring them. Way to inspire confidence in slightly over 50% of the population there, police. At La Maison Depths, Larry, Charlie, and Amita are making the sexual Facebook, and Alan's not pleased at the complete dominance of Charlie in the living room in this new battle in the Epps house war, so Larry, of course, deflects him by offering to go play chess. Once alone, Amita takes the opportunity to ask Charlie about how he feels about her working with Larry instead of him, and Charlie's reaction surprises her, and honestly me a little, because he's thrilled and he wants the world for her, and it's really kind of sweet. And I just realized my opinion of Charmita has totally changed. Last year, this scene would have made me vomit. Megan's sitting home alone, showing all the signs of a Fed cake about to lose it, as she's having flashes of Rena's assault and killing the perp and cleaning her gun. Yeah, not entirely mentally sound there. So she calls Larry, who is both reassuring that she's not going to act on these impulses in real life and also starting to compete with Charlie for the title of best boyfriend on this show. I'm also kind of distracted by the cool yet funky apartment that is Megan's. Her apartment definitely reflects her. At the IHOP, Charlie's found two more women with the same form of gonorrhea. And because privacy, I guess, is no longer a constitutional right, he's managed to get their names: Virginia Mallard and Oki Chigawa. Now, there's a Mallard on the Kalina PD, but there's a problem with him being the suspect. See if you can spot it. During the interview, Mallard gives himself away in knowing more about the rapes than he should know as a good police officer, and he even jokes about them being reported by a wackadoo feminist, and that's what he actually says to describe it. Of course, there's enough circumstantial evidence to prove that he was involved, as he was on duty near 5 of the rapes, and his wife has the same rare form of the clap. So, this guy starts admitting that he had sex with various prostitutes, and, he also, it turns out, knows it was his former partner, but he only talks when he's threatened with jail time. Geez, this episode between Mallard, the rapist, the people in Kalina, at least the chief, and Ivy, aren't really leaving me with much respect for law enforcement. How does one get stuff on the back of milk cartons? 'Cause seriously, the funny is missing. Anyway, the rapist is Officer Cleary, and the Fed cakes plus Ivy head off to his home, and they don't find him, but they do find some symbolic bondage porn. And why is it symbolic? It gives us the proof we needed that the Fed cakes are on the right track. So while Colby's left on duty, all alone, the rest have to listen to the Kalina chief insisting that they're wrong, even though Officer Cleary was recently demoted to the motor pool, which of course gave him the access to the vehicles he needed to go commit the attacks. Just out of curiosity, what is it with television cops who really don't think they need to keep their own houses clean? So now the race is on to find Cleary, and Ivy and Megan find that he's taken the car into LAPD territory. And of course we find he's just taken someone as a hostage. After everyone nearly winds up as a fed cake pancake, Colby finally blocks off the perp from exiting a parking garage. Cleary makes a run for it, and the victim is left with Ivy. Of all people, they choose to leave the victim with Ivy. Anyway, so the shootout and the chase is on, and they go running, and of course now Megan has her legitimate chance to shoot the perp. But since she's had her session with Dr. Fleinhardt, we all know that she isn't going to do it. Hey, Larry may be practicing psychology without a license in California, but he's probably doing a damn sight better job than someone else I could mention. Thank God, by the way, that Dawn and Colby are the ones that arrive on the scene as Megan holds a gun to the guy's head, because I'm sure if it had been Ivy, she would have taken total credit for the situation. Now, Cleary does try to justify himself by saying, "Guys, it's just sex," and Colby says what I was thinking, that he won't feel the same way about that in prison. There's a really cute little mini scene that follows the takedown of Cleary that my fellow recapper Annie would love because she's a good representation of all the Dawn Megan chippers out there, where Dawn's all, "Are you okay?" and then proceeds to help her down, and it's really rather adorable, but like everything else in this episode is spoiled by Ivy, who feels the need to show up. You know, the least she could do is apologize for being such a pain in the ass this entire episode. At La Maison d'Epps, Larry's efforts to butter up Charlie to work with Amita is totally in vain, as he completely loves the idea. Charlie, that is. Well, Larry loves it too, but Charlie also loves it. Anyway, I love how everyone feels the need to apologize to Charlie if he isn't their first mathematical choice. By the way, I just totally noticed that both Larry and Amita are still wearing their PJs, which is kind of funny and cute too. Now, Amita is commenting that she thinks that they need a new energy-efficient refrigerator to fit in with Ray Ray's desire to green La Maison de Eps from last week. But Charlie's just happy that she used the word we, even though they still need to collect more data for the game theory analysis as how to proceed as a couple. But to Amita, the phrase collecting data means that Charlie just isn't ready. Suddenly the trio realize that Alan is missing from breakfast. As for Alan's whereabouts, he's at Dawn's, waking him up early on the one day Dawn gets to sleep in. In my world, even if coffee is provided, that's still cause for justifiable homicide. Alan stayed at Dawn's to avoid the all-night mathathon. For Alan, I think this might be the final capitulation in the Epps house war. Thus our season ends with Megan trying to convince Rena to get some help, and well, there's really nothing funny here, but at least I can be amused by Megan's boots. Honestly, it doesn't matter who wears those type of boots, they still look funny on just about anybody. And so, well, yeah, that's it. And I'm kind of glad that when I start recapping Torchwood next week that the BBC isn't involved with the WGA. So, see you next season. Hopefully next season we'll start on time and with all our writers.